Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation on early feeding cues for easier feedings. My name is Katie Flanagan. I'm a student midwife and lactation educator, and I want to go through early hunger cues with you to help in your breastfeeding, chest feeding experience. So, a lot of people assume that when a baby is crying, they're hungry, and you're not wrong about that. But crying is baby's sort of last resort cue, meaning that when they are distressed, really hungry, that's when they start to cry. And babies are actually giving us much subtler cues more often that we can start to pay attention to. And when we do this, it can lead to easier breast and chest feeding experiences. So, a cue you might notice with your baby is their fist moving towards their mouth. Maybe when they're awake for a little bit, you notice that they're putting their hands towards their mouth is really active. This is a cue that baby is probably looking for the breast or chest and is hungry and ready to feed. Another cue is baby looking for the breast or chest, aka the rooting reflex. This is when we see babies move their head back and forth. If you're holding them, they sort of try to nuzzle or scooch their way around your chest, maybe crawling up your belly towards your chest or trying to shift downwards if you're holding them high up. This is an instinctual reflex that babies are born with and comes on board right after birth. And this is a cue that they are probably hungry. Another cue is opening and closing the mouth. And this one can be kind of tricky because if you've ever hung out with a newborn, they're exploring their bodies, they're opening and closing their mouth, sticking out their tongue. So this is one of the more subtle ones, but maybe something to pay attention to, particularly if you start to notice the other cues of rooting or them bringing their hands to their mouth after you've seen them opening and closing and having a very active mouth and tongue. Another cue is baby awake and active? Are they looking at you? Are they engaged? Have they been awake from a nap for a little while? Has it been an hour or so since their last feed? When babies are awake and active, they usually have the energy to successfully move towards breast and chest feeding. And so this is a great time to offer them an opportunity to feed. So if you see any of these cues, try offering the breast or chest. Give them an opportunity to latch and feed. So often there's this narrative that if we offer the breast or chest too often, that babies will become spoiled or, wind up doing feedings where they're self-soothing. And the thing is, that's what we want. We want babies to soothe themselves through feeding. We want them to make their needs known. And it actually gets better the more frequently you give them opportunities to feed. There's a lot of benefits to breastfeeding early and often. One of my mentors says, keep the kitchen open so that they can have a snack when they want. One of the benefits of offering the breast, the chest, or opportunities to feed is that it regulates supply through demand. Breastfeeding is a positive feedback loop, meaning that if your breasts are really engorged or if you're worried about making enough milk, more frequent feedings will help your body learn exactly the amount that it needs to be producing for your baby based off of how much milk they're transferring, aka drinking, in each feeding. The other thing is that breast and chest feeding, for the most part, promotes oxytocin and bonding between you and your baby. Now, I will say that for some people, they have very challenging experiences with breast and chest feeding, but for the most part, the system is designed to help promote a sense of closeness, a sense of relaxation, and a sense of connection for you and your baby. And the thing is practice makes perfect. The more you give your baby the opportunity to feed, the more they get to practice latching, develop their sucking reflex, the more efficient that they become at feeding and transferring milk. So feedings will start to become shorter. And the more you two find your rhythm and groove, which really helps if you have a goal of exclusive breast or chest feeding. So that summarizes today's presentation. If you have any questions, you can let me know. I do always like to give the disclaimer while as a lactation educator. I am going to be very pro chest or breastfeeding or use of donor milk. The reality is that having you and your baby be fed is the most important thing. So you can feel free to reach out to me and I will provide some links for any resources in case you're facing issues with supply, with food access or scarcity, or any other challenges around breast and chest feeding. All right, thank you so much for joining today.